Golan-Globus Theater.
Holy shit. That's some fun audio issues we've been having for the last hour. That's the way to start an episode, huh?
Sure.
No.
It's
not the way to start an episode at all. No.
So you aren't hearing voices. We do have a friend on the podcast today.
Right.
Murray.
Let's just cut to the chase. Our man Stuart, he's back.
Yes.
Hey.
From the award-winning Superman 4 episode.
I can't even count the awards that are cluttering my house at this point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I heard? Can you confirm that more people listened to that episode of Superman 4 Quest of Peace than actually saw the film Superman 4 Quest of Peace? Is that true?
God, yeah.
I can confirm that. That's true.
That's within
Brilliant.
the first
So
day.
Double figures then. I'm happy with that. So I'm very impressed.
Hey, I was there. I saw it in the theater, so...
Yeah.
Oh, God. I saw it on VHS. Ugh.
Did you wear a Superman shirt? Is this like a concert tee to a band?
No, we didn't do that shit. Like they're talking about, like, don't come to the Joker movie dressed as Joker. Nobody did that shit back then.
No, it's gone beyond that at this point.
Yeah.
The first one I ever remember people dressing up for was probably Batman 1989, where everybody had, like, Batman T-shirts on.
Oh.
I can't remember anybody dressing up before that.
Interesting. So we're having an issue right now where I think it was like the military. Somebody has basically been saying we need to keep an eye on incels during the Joker run.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going for the first week, because I don't want to get shot.
Neither do I.
Do you know who's doing that, though? It's the media that's doing it. They're trying to go, oh, look, we need something. They're stirring all that crap up, because we see that over here as well.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I think the media are just going, oh, look, let's... I mean, they're not trying to cause anything, but I think they're trying to...
They're trying
they're
to kill
inflaming
the box
it.
office of Joker? Is that what?
No, I think...
Probably fucking Marvel fans.
Oh, that's believable.
Like, I'm interested
Kevin
in that
Feige's
movie.
like, "Ree."
That's why we haven't heard from Pigeons in so long, because he's...
Oh, he's right in the middle of it. He's occupying Joker.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, I'm interested in it because of Joaquin Phoenix, but I won't see it.
It looks great.
That's too
I'll
much
see
effort.
it eventually, but...
There's a movie theater around the block for me. I won't go see it.
That's what we like to hear on a movie podcast.
Yeah, I'm not going to go watch no movie. I'll wait till it hits Netflix or some other streaming platform.
Oh, man. So
I'm going to watch it on Quibi.
Stuart, we have a pressing issue to bring up. Me and Murray were having a conversation in post a couple weeks ago.
Oh, you're going to bring this up?
Oh, of course I am, because this is what we plan to lead off, and I'm going to try to pretend we didn't have an hour of issues to work through.
What issues? I've just got here.
Yeah. I wish.
There's no issues.
So I was listening to a recent episode of your podcast, and you were talking about, I think it was housing CDs for a friend in your attic.
Oh, God, yeah. He's got the Abyss soundtrack. Well, no, I've got it. It's amazing.
So this is going to get into an issue that me and Murray have. I've gone to multiple people's houses where they have their CD collection in the living room.
No. You're trying to... Let me take over.
Sure. Spin this. Go ahead. Spin us yarn us a tale.
This is the no spin zone, motherfucker. All right, here's the deal. First of all, I want to point out that I've always been portrayed unfairly, by the way, as the villain of this show. And the real villain is this piece of shit across the table.
You've accepted that crown multiple times.
Tubes.
You're wearing tube socks right now.
Yes, I am wearing tube socks. And I'm getting ready for the movie, which we'll talk about later. But, okay, so Griff revealed this little nugget to me. How old were you at the time?
How old was I? When?
No, I'm talking to Griff. How old? See, he's already ashamed of it.
What are you talking about? I was in my... I was 12, I was 20,
Okay.
I was 30. I'm a serial CD looker.
Shut up. Let me explain the story. Okay, so Griff's 12, old enough to know better. So he's babysitting some neighbor's kids or something. I love how he's like shrugging, like, I don't know what I was doing. Am I
I
am
don't
I
know
right
which,
so far?
I told you about so many times I rifle through people's CDs. I don't know which one you're trying to pull up.
No, you haven't. See, this is Stuart. Don't listen to him because he's trying to like pull a Trump move on us, like Rudy Giuliani, where he's just throwing bullshit out at you.
Okay, let's cut to the chase. I'm 12.
You're 12. You're babysitting for some neighbor.
Yes.
And so they trust you enough with their kids.
Yeah.
And then while they're gone, not only do you rifle through their CDs, which you don't do that, Griff, all right? This isn't your property.
I do that.
Well, you're a piece of shit too, Stuart. Sorry.
I am. My parents used to say that all the time to me. I'm so emotional right now.
Not only... It's going to be okay, son. Not only do you rifle through them, you start playing this guy's CDs.
Yeah.
And then the guy comes home, and I think he was pissed, but you knew you were a kid, so he let it slide. So he's like, "Oh, you like what was this? What was the band again?"
It might have been Metallica. He had Metallica.
No. He's changing it. He's trying to make.
No! I know exactly who it was. I'm sorry.
To make it sound cool.
It's like John Denver or something.
No, not even worse.
It's even better. Wait, is that? No, that's Disturbed.
What was it?
Hi! Stand alone! It's Godsmack.
Godsmack. And he's trying to act like this is normal behavior. No, you don't go through people's shit, Griff. Did you go through his wife's panty drawer later on? And now he looks disgusted at that. How is it any different, Griff?
The bedroom's the bedroom. The living room, all fair game. I think I've gone through people's CDs before.
Thank you.
Wow, I never knew a bunch of lowlifes I'm dealing with here.
Just because you keep all your CDs in your room doesn't mean everyone does that.
I'm the only person who has CDs anymore.
Have you even...
That used to be one of the first things I'd do when I go around and visit a friend's house and I've not been to their house before. Is let me look at your VHS tapes or your CDs or your albums.
Exactly.
Stuart, here's the difference. He's a friend. This person is basically a stranger. You're just when are you leaving so I can go through your shit?
Oh my goodness.
I think it only becomes an issue when he starts sneaking in open windows and then looking through people's CDs and they're like, "Oh, who are you? Get out of my house." I think maybe then it's an issue. But
so if you're invited, it's like a vampire. If you're invited into a house, you can do whatever the fuck you want in that person's house. Is that it?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
As long as it's in the living room and on a display. Just rifle through that shit.
Okay. You have to hide things.
So if the wife's panties are on display in the living room, it's okay to go through them. So it's pretty much, pretty much. Okay. As long as she's not wearing them, because that's you got to ask permission for that shit.
So this is a Chuck Norris movie we're talking about. Is he 30 or 60? Can someone answer that for me?
He's eternal.
He is eternal. Yep.
But
he is ageless.
I've never seen him as a young gentleman, though.
Well, see, this is the Chuck Norris I grew up on. So the blonde hair and the big stash, you probably know him as beard guy, right?
He barely.
Yeah, I was like, "Where's the beard?"
No, this is the real Chuck.
Yeah,
getting the real.
He's got the
surfer
Chuck, surfer blonde hair.
Yeah.
So just quick poll: who's for it? Who's against it? It sounds like you're for it.
I prefer the beard.
You just need to. I hope we never meet in person then, because I have a classic Chuck beard. A beard? Mustache.
You wish you had a Chuck mustache. You have.
He had no mustache in this movie. It was just little bits.
It still was better than what you have. Sorry.
Wow.
Well, sorry. I'm just telling like it is.
I would never see your beard, Griff, because I'd be too busy looking through your CDs. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Exactly.
They're not in my living room, so I would.
I know where they are. I'll find them. I'll find them. Don't worry about it.
Okay. So I think I had one more thing. Now, what does your history with Chuck begin, Stuart?
My history with Chuck probably begins Invasion USA.
Invasion. That's a perfect place to start.
And maybe Missing in Action 2, which is technically the first one, because it gets all confusing with them films. But the one that's called Missing in Action 2, the beginning, I think, is probably my relationship with Chuck. I caught him once. He was going through my CDs. Okay. I didn't say anything though because it's Chuck Norris. So I just let him.
Man, I bet he would steal a CD or two. Based on the story Pigeon told us, I think he would steal a CD. No. And then his bodyguard would step in and be like, don't worry about that.
No, but I guarantee he'd kick the shit out of somebody who walked through his CD.
Bodyguard? Chuck don't need no bodyguard. Chuck's bodyguard needs Chuck.
Oh. There's a story that you need to hear then.
Yeah, we did it.
Did you hear the one about it? Did you hear the one about the grenade? Because he used to be in the military, didn't he? He used to be in the Air Force or whatever. He killed 50 people with a single grenade. That was nuts. And then the grenade exploded. It was cool. I was quite impressed with that.
Oh, man. Just like CDs were rifling through jokes from the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
I hadn't heard that one, though. I liked it.
That's good.
Man, this blonde Chuck experience was great for me, though. It allowed me to refresh what I knew about Chuck.
I enjoyed it a lot more than I think I should have.
Yeah. Where did you get? Are you also
enjoyment?
Invasion USA for a start?
What about Invasion USA?
Did you start with Chuck on Invasion?
No. I might have been Breaker, which was like. Jumped on that CB bandwagon from the late 70s. And that's when he had the mustache. So that's why I think it's Chuck.
Oh.
Or it might have been the Bruce Lee movie. I don't remember.
I've got you guys topped easily, by far. My Family, Around the TV, 8 o'clock, CBS, I want to say Tuesday nights, Walker, Texas Ranger. That's my Chuck beginning.
Really?
That's after hours. That's way after.
Yeah. Well, he's like...
Mind you, you're younger, so you're like 12, aren't you? So.
Just as you got done going through someone's CD. Like, oh, Chuck?
Yeah, I got to it way late.
The soundtrack to Walker, Texas Ranger. Let me put this CD on.
Yeah, it was...
It's Steven Seagal playing music.
I'm just amazed you didn't pick up the morals from watching Walker, Texas Ranger. That went right over your head. It was all about ass kicking.
There's no episode about rifling through CDs.
I don't know. There might be a lost episode.
I think we
a troubled young kid is like going through. It's like next thing you know, he's like sucking dick for like drug money.
I just remember him using a divining rod to find a child buried in the desert.
What? You can
wow,
do that.
Does that work?
Don't let child molesters know that. You can actually get a divining rod for kids.
That's what he
I think
did.
it only works if the child's had a big drink of water beforehand. I think it might work.
That makes sense to me. I don't know. I've talked about Murray about doing micro episodes on like Walker or Renegade, and I really want to visit that. We'll see. We got an episode to get into, though. Do we want to get to that trailer?
We have.
Yeah, it's like 3 a.m. for Stuart right now. So
no, it's like Christmas Eve now. It's fine.
Okay, so this is the kickoff of our Schlocktober month. By the way, Stuart, I want the European perspective. Halloween. Do Europeans give a shit about Halloween at all?
We do, because we get to watch horror films, and we get to watch horror films, and then what we do is on Halloween when all the kids go out dressed up and to go trick or treating, all like 6 kids or whatever.
That's how it is here now.
You don't answer your door because you're like, why would I? I'm not answering the door.
So now it's all becoming sense. Now it makes sense that Stuart will go through people's
CDs. Trick or treat.
Pretty much.
You know.
So now it's only big. I mean, you see it on social media and stuff where everybody's like, "I'm going to watch 31 horror films this month," and then they watch like 4. And I include me in it as well. But I've watched 1 so far.
Yeah.
And so I'm a day behind. But,
You're a day behind.
You know, technically 2 if you count this Chuck Norris movie.
Yeah. This is technically a horror film.
It's a slasher.
Oh, it sure is.
I've got a list. A couple years ago, I was tasked with doing 31 movies for Halloween, and I did them all.
So, you did trick or treat when you were a kid, then?
Nope, I didn't. No, it wasn't really a thing when I was a kid.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Yeah, so now it's become a thing because it's like huge everywhere now. Is that it?
Pretty much. I mean, it's the old America sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold type thing. Was America did it, and we watched like Halloween, the Carpenter movies, and all that sort of stuff, and then we sort of stole some of it. And we go, oh, we could,
that's a good thing to steal.
bob for apples in water.
Yeah.
It's a very good thing to steal.
Because we, especially in Detroit, we fucking loved it, like Halloween. So
yeah,
I mean, I'm assuming you've seen the Crow movie, right?
Oh, I love the Crow movie. Oh. I've seen that dozens of times. It's great. Love it.
That's like my other. What's that one I joke with Stuart about? Near Dark. That's the Near Dark.
He hates Near Dark.
Near Dark I like, but I always think that I'm kind of missing something when I watch that film. It's like I like it, but I don't feel the need to go, I'm going to watch that again because I've not seen that in 20 years. But the Crow I would happily watch once a week.
Well, I just bring the Crow up because is that the first time you ever heard about Devil's Night?
Yes, I actually thought they invented that for the Crow, so I'm about to learn something new.
No, that's it. That might be a uniquely Detroit thing. I don't even know if the rest of the country does.
I think that actually is a Detroit thing.
Well, it's fine. We'll clear something up for you because you probably think everyone in Detroit sets their houses on fire and shit like that. Is that what you thought?
They don't?
No.
I thought,
there's a lot of fires.
Well, when I was a kid,
I learned.
Like in the late 70s, it was like Devil's Night, which is the night before Halloween. You just go out, you throw like rotten eggs at people's houses, put toilet paper in the tree. It was like tame shit. And then somewhere in like the late 80s, people lost their fucking mind and started setting houses on fire. But they were abandoned houses. It wasn't like somebody like went to a house someone was living in and set it on fire. But because then there's tons of abandoned houses in Detroit. But unfortunately, there's people who live next to abandoned houses, and their houses would catch on fire.
And then Griff's running in there going, save the CDs! Save the CDs!
Oh, yeah, of course.
No, he's like a ninja. He's like Shokazuki. He's sneaking in, stealing the CDs.
I don't want to steal them. I don't want them. You can't find a CD in this house. Well, you can't. Stu can. He definitely can. I can tell. But, yeah, no, I don't want no fucking CDs.
Are you a bit like the Wet Bandits out of Home Alone, where they went in and turned the taps on? You go in and just put a CD on, and then run out.
I am Marv all day. I'm a sticky bandit every day of the week.
So I'm glad to know that we're actually sending something good out in the world, i.e. Halloween, and not just awful shit like we normally do.
Like Silent Rage.
Let's treat our loyal listeners to some Silent Rage.
Well, hey, since Stuart did such a great job last time throwing into the trailer, I'm going to throw to you, Stuart. Let's hear your best. Make people want to listen to Silent Rage.
People do want to listen to Silent Rage. I want to be on this podcast. It's now midnight here in the UK, and I'm here with the wonderful two co-hosts who I like to call Hero and the Terror. They're my favorite sidekicks. But let's cue the trailer for easily one of the best Chuck Norris films ever, other than probably most of the other ones, Silent Rage.
Columbia Pictures presents Chuck Norris.
Hot damn fighters! Call the police?
Not me, boss.
Nobody call the police. You must be a mirage.
The master fighter of our time. But not even he could imagine the power of the indestructible man he is about to face. A creation of science whose only thought is to survive.
Thank you, senor.
The unstoppable terror of Silent Rage. Now, Chuck Norris must destroy him.
Dan, watch out!
In a final battle to the death and beyond. Silent Rage.
All right, so that was some kind of trailer. A lot of glass smashing. I actually had to read about like that scene. It sounds pretty cool. The stunts in this movie sound pretty cool. Of course, done by Aaron Norris.
Of course.
Was it just me, or at the very beginning of the movie, we see a stained glass window? Weren't you just waiting for Chuck to fly through it? And it never happened.
I was waiting to put my own fist through it, I think. I'm like, what am I about to watch here?
Yeah,
what did I pay? A whole three UK pounds I paid for this DVD.
Oh, that's like $4 American.
It certainly is.
Oh, man. That's enough to buy you
shocking
20 chicken nuggets. I mean,
yep, it's enough. I could buy Out for Justice and Marked for Death for that in total.
Okay, I would say watch those two over this one. But this movie is a lot of fun.
Well, right, we open. There's just it's very artistic. There's just this stained glass window and black background. And I'm waiting for somebody to break that window.
Yeah. I'm waiting for noise.
Chuck on a motorbike.
Very much like our evening started tonight. I'm waiting for noise because I couldn't hear shit from this movie.
Well, yeah, I also want to point that out. Did you notice very little, if any, background music in this movie at all?
Yeah. Very silent.
Probably wasn't in the budget. If in fact there was a budget, I don't know. I did like the camera work at the beginning. It was like one single shot of the guy going down the stairs. So that was kind of cool.
I really liked that too. I appreciated that a movie like this didn't just randomly introduce characters for the fact that they were going to die.
Yep.
So that was actually really cool.
Because I had no idea what this film was about until I pressed play. I didn't read up on it or anything. I just bought the DVD and put it on.
Yeah, we go into this shit cold.
This is going to be a Chuck Norris action film. Brilliant. Ray, I'm waiting for the guns and all this motorbikes and rocket launchers and hijacked airplanes and everything. Nope.
He doesn't use a single gun in this.
Psychological thriller kind of thing. We're getting into the mind of a killer.
I want to completely disrupt this whole thing and be like, did we have tension at any point in this movie?
No. I think Chuck struggled with undoing somebody's buttons at one point, so there was a bit of like, ooh, is it going to happen? Is it going to turn into kissing in action? Or is it going to be, who knows?
There was some tension in those blue jeans that he was wearing.
Yes, also that.
Yeah,
I think he was wearing
a little bit too much. Yep.
Definitely not the tension they were going for.
So we open up, there's this crazy guy, John Kirby, sweaty, disheveled, lying in his bed. Was he like renting a room in this house? Was he related to these people?
This is something very uncommon today, to rent a room to a grown man. That was very strange.
Especially when he looks like the killer at a Cobra.
Yeah.
With all big cheekbones and stuff. I'm like, this guy looks like a crazy killer.
For sure. And he had newspaper clippings all over his walls.
Yeah, I was like, were those his killings or
Everything about this man was, I shouldn't allow him in my house near my children.
Well, the kids were bigger assholes than he was.
Oh yeah,
man, I would had no problem with him killing the kids.
So John is stirring because not only is there a knock at his door, but there's a phone call for him.
Well, he's losing it, Griff. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. That was the only lines he said in the movie, I think. I'm losing it.
I did notice in that same shot of him going down the stairs, his nipples were so hard he could have dialed the phone himself.
Interesting.
He'd been watching Chuck Norris movies. It excited him.
Yeah, so he stumbles down, and there's this annoying, I guess his landlady, his mom. I don't fucking know. I don't know if these were his parents.
I was like, is this his wife, cousin, sister? What is happening?
Everything.
It was his cousin, his sister, and his wife all at the same time.
That's how America rolls, man.
Yeah, this is in the South, so it's believable.
It is the South. This is one of many movies shot in Dallas, Texas.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I did no research for this movie, so I'm glad you did that.
It's okay. I did very little as well.
Neither did the screenwriters.
Well, we already discussed, what's his name? Mike Norris did it at 7, so.
He did.
So he gets
it's fine.
He gets
carry on.
He gets a call from a psychiatrist, Dr. Tom.
Tom.
Oh, he's a doctor.
I think I buy my deodorant from him.
There's a Dr. Phil later on, too.
Oh, no, there is. You're right. Oh, no.
So he's like, I'm losing it, Doc. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. And I'm assuming Dr. Tom is like rushing over to stop him from losing it. So he stumbles outside, and then he does this weird like firewood chopping where he's like limply like.
Yeah. He's taking a new take on the brawny man.
Yeah. And then the kids are like fucking super annoying. They're playing like laser tag or some shit. I don't know what they're doing.
And then he what's up?
Do you remember? You're probably too young. Maybe it got over in England. There was a show about laser tag. Like you could like watch the show and like shoot at the screen and shit. It was Captain.
No, I thankfully don't remember that.
Yeah, it was like when laser tag first came out. I've
really
never
weird.
played laser tag, so I don't know. Anyway, I don't know why I went off on that tangent because nobody cares. He stumbles into a chicken coop. I'm assuming he chokes a chicken.
Yeah.
Eats a raw
He
egg.
does with an axe. Nobody seems to think, why has he just gone into that chicken coop with a big axe?
They're not scared because we just watched him like limply like chop some wood.
He's not the good wood. He's not a great wood chopper, was he? It's like what he had, like a garden ornament or something.
I mean, this is definitely very unsettling. This is like the only unsettling part of the movie for me. Just watching this man go outside, grab an axe, and then like rub it over wood. That was very unsettling for me.
And then we're assuming he kills some chickens. I don't know. He goes in the chicken coop, stumbles back out, and then he does. I think it's attacks the woman.
Yeah, he loses shit.
Yeah, he chases her upstairs, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Or follows her upstairs.
In his defense, she was
To
a
which
real
is-
nag.
She was a nag.
What a stupid woman. The guy's smashing the door down with an axe, and she just thinks, I'm going to just shout for help with the postman.
Well-
no, get out the window, you crazy woman.
She could have jumped out the. Wait, did she jump out the window?
She could have done.
No, she tried
No.
to, and then he grabbed.
She tried.
Well,
Yeah, at the very last
do
minute.
like-
She could have got well out of it.
Yeah, I do like that the one guy tried to stop her. The guy
Archie
we.
Bunker.
Yeah. I love this sound effect. I have to bring up the sound effect because he tries to hit him with like a chair, like it's fucking wrestling or something. It breaks over his back, and he just turns around and he bonks him with an axe, and it splits his head open. But the sound effect for it was just like, what was that?
It's like a sink plunger.
Sound budget was
Think
really
plunger.
in trouble for this movie. They didn't
Foley-
have music,
Foley
they didn't have
artists.
sound effects. So he kills Archie Bunker. He's like, yeah, you dingbat, and he falls down the steps.
He
Kills-
shines through the door.
The old lady's like screams to the mailman, so he runs to get the cops,
Oh yeah.
and then he kills her, and then Chuck shows up, and so all Chuck knows is there's a man with an axe who just murdered somebody, and he just rolls in, he pulls his gun out.
Yeah.
Nope.
And he's just like looking through the cupboards, like beefaroni. There's a pot of hot water on the
Rifling
stove.
through the CDs. Just like-
He's looking for the CDs. That's what he's doing. He's trying to find
Let's
those
see. This was 82.
Steven
Murray,
Seagal CDs.
what would he be looking for?
Maybe Thriller might have been out by then.
Thriller?
Maybe that was it. I'm thinking he's pulling out the soundtrack to Silent Rage.
It's a Friday night. Thriller just came out. He's just like, I don't want to pay for that shit.
He's like Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, throws it in the trash. And so he's not scared at all. He's just doesn't he have his gun out? He's just chilling, walking around.
Yeah.
And then then John Kirby shows up, and they struggle, right?
Yeah. John gets the jump on him, and they're struggling a little bit in the bedroom. Sounds like a relationship issue there.
Certainly does. Yeah.
And so Chuck gets the better of him, and so John
Of course,
jumps
he's
out the
Chuck
window.
Norris. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it was about Chuck that John was like, no, I can't take this man.
He gets scared because he's a coward, and so the guy takes off through the window and then leaps down and runs away. And then the deputy, he's like, Sheriff, he whipped that away.
But he shoots at him too.
Well, he shoots at the Chuck.
Yeah, after Chuck jumps down.
And like I want to point out my least favorite character, Deputy Charlie, played by Flounder from Animal House. I gotta believe this was like some Make-A-Wish thing. Like like he's like mentally disabled, and they're like letting him pretend to be a deputy because there's no way this guy could be a real deputy. And there's a very condescending, like it's okay, pat him on the head kind of thing.
They give him a real gun though, so they should like give him a rubber gun or something.
Stuart, this is America. We all have a right, no matter how crazy we are. We have a gun. I mean, come on.
Have you heard of the Second Amendment? I mean, come on. If you're not strapping, you're pretty much not an American. Me and Murray are pointing our guns at each other during the whole podcast.
Like now.
We're playing Russian roulette while we're doing this every week.
Just in case one of us says something that's a little off key, we shoot each other.
Bang.
Just in that shoulder spot, though. I edit it out every episode.
We've gotten so good, we hit the same spot every time. So
straight through the same bullet hole. Exactly. That's impressive. That's good.
So Kirby takes off for the woods.
Right.
Chuck, after his near-death experience when Charles decided to shoot right at his face, he just like, Chuck, what the fuck? And carries on, catches John. They tussle a little bit in the woods, having a little fun.
John tries to hit him with a 2x4. There's there's wood everywhere in this place. Yeah. And Chuck blocks it, and then he pins him down with the 2x4 and pops him in the head.
Did he pop him or did he choke him out with it?
He might have choked him out.
Yeah, he stuck it across his neck, which just clearly worked. It's like done.
It did. It just. I think they even had a pop noise in there too.
I don't know.
Well, it's kind of like so Chuck sort of chokes him out with a little piece of wood, and yet it takes 5 or 6 police officers to put the guy in a car. Yeah. He's that strong.
Well, yeah.
A plank of wood.
Exactly. That's how badass Chuck is. So yeah, they subdue him. They put the handcuffs on him, put him in the back of the truck. Dr. Tom
shows up, brings the deodorant.
And he's like, I'm a psychiatrist. I'm sorry. I had no idea. If I knew how fucking insane he was, I never would have let him out of the institute, my bad. And Chuck's like, I understand. It's okay,
Yeah, well, they're having a nice conversation about, human rights because Chuck's all about it, too. He's not like police state, So we get a clip of John in the backseat with the handcuffs, and he breaks them. He's that fucking strong.
Behind his back, too. It's not easy. I've tried.
Dude. Pecs for days. So then he kicks through the door because if he broke through handcuffs, a fucking door isn't going to stop him.
Right.
Yeah.
Plank of wood, mate.
Applied properly, you can, right in carotid arteries.
Chuck can turn anything into a weapon. That's the lesson.
He is a weapon.
He is a weapon.
He is.
And so he gets out, and like our cops do, and they stand their ground, and they shoot him 100 times.
It is Dallas, so you're fucked. If he had a bazooka there, they'd be like, it's justified.
So they riddle him with bullets, and they go, stop! Right after, as they cover themselves, they're like, hey, he resisted arrest. And so Dr. Tom's like, I'll take it from here.
Yeah.
I'm not a coroner, but I'm going to take this body from you. And he's like, okay, whatever. So they go to this was this a hospital, a secret lab? What was this place?
No, it was
it's like Frankenstein's lair or
it's
something.
It's Frankenstein's lair / see, Chuck is very anti-science. He's trying to be cool about science in the beginning of the movie, but you see his attitude towards science changes. So
my attitude towards science changed after this movie. I mean,
it did.
Yeah.
Because we're Frankenstein.
My attitude to Chuck Norris movies changed after this movie.
Because he's Frankensteining the fuck out of people, and that's what they're trying to tell people. Scientists love Frankensteins.
Well, first they try to just resuscitate him. I guess he's still alive, even though he's got 100 bullets in him.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, we're losing him, and they're like, get mutagen 35.
Mitogen.
And they're like, we can't use that. We're still testing it. He's going to die anyway. Do it.
Oh. I mean, who cares about human rights when we got mitogen 35 waiting there for a human experiment? This guy's already dead. It's no big deal.
Right. So
I've already stole his pinky toe. I'm just going to use this later. I don't even know what for. Who cares?
Like a rabbit's foot.
Yeah.
So they inject him Mutagen 35, and then they're like, "Look at his brainwaves; they're off the charts."
Yeah.
And they're like, "You've gone mad with power. You're Dr. Frankenstein. We'll let this man die in peace."
So Phil agrees to that. Yeah, he's finally like, you're thinking that cooler heads prevail. Let's let science live another day, and let's let this man die a horrible death. Because we've been injecting him. Yeah. Kevorkian would have been a nice way to treat this man at this point. Because they've just been injecting him with various things.
Got some Clorox here. Let's see what happens.
Spray him in the mouth with Febreze. Let's see what it does.
20 cc's of Febreze, stat. And so, Tom goes out. For some reason, Chuck is outside shirtless.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got blood on his shirt, hasn't he? So,
He's like, here's some Febreze.
I think so. Yeah, that's what it is.
Maybe.
He's like, I need some deodorant, Tom. Get me some deodorant.
There we go. I need a refreshing 24-hour, just like pure prevention of stank.
I think he was shirtless. He was getting X-rays, and this, because he got kind of fucked up a little in the fight.
Maybe a little bit,
yeah. Or maybe he was just shirtless. I have no fucking clue.
I think he was just trying to show off the goods.
Well, yeah, because he later on he puts a shirt on, and then he's like, "I'm parched. I gotta go to the water fountain." And
thanks, Chuck. Why do we need to know that detail?
Well, because while he's slurping on that water, he's got those skin-tight action pants on, and this woman walking by just can't help but notice his ass is all out, and she's just like, I like what I see. And then he comes up, and she's like, oh, fuck. It's Chuck. And we learn that these two, Allison is her name, they have a history.
A little bit.
They don't really go into it.
It's been 6 fucking years.
6 years?
6 years.
He said 5.
6 long years.
I heard, yeah.
He can't count. It was 5 Chuck years, which is 6 years for everybody else. Like dog years, but different.
And so we learned Chuck broke her heart, obviously. You can't be held down by one woman.
Well, I think I looked it up at this point. Chuck is 42.
Okay.
This woman also has the early 80s problem where I can't age them. So, 50?
No, I don't think she was 50. Chuck would never date any woman younger or older than him. So, no. I'm going to say 30.
Well, Chuck's current wife is 25 years younger than him.
Wow. Surprised.
He dumped his wife, who was his co-star in Walker, Texas Ranger, for a younger woman. Yeah. It broke Walker, Texas Ranger for me.
So he's doing some method acting, you're thinking here?
I think so.
Because he obviously didn't care about Allison, because he's like, oh, yeah, we used to date, yeah. How's it going?
I don't know how to explain his motivation here.
And then she, slapped him, right? And then walked off.
He didn't even flinch.
Of course not.
Well, no. I mean, come on.
He's like, "Does somebody leave a window open?"
He went up against the Terror. He went up against this Frankenstein monster. He
silently raged against this guy.
Yeah.
And
we didn't even talk about how quiet that first scene was, did we? But who cares? Let's go on.
So Tom comes out. We learn that Tom is the brother of Allison. Apparently, Chuck never met any of the. It was just straight up booty calls. Like he never met her family.
It's just like No Retreat, No Resender. Brother sister connection, but fuck, no one notices.
And he's like, "Wow, you used to fuck this guy? Wow, what happened? How did you fuck that up?" And she's like, "Well, it's complicated." And he's like, "Brother's always the last to know." So Charlie had to leave with the cop car for some reason because we need some excuse to get Allison and Chuck together.
Yeah, Chuck tells Charlie, "Get the fuck out of here." He's like, "I'm working here. Look at this. Look at this place. Forget about it. You ain't got no chance."
It's like, Charlie, look, vending machine. Go eat Mars bar. Go get one.
Mars bar.
Whatever you say, Sheriff.
Yep.
And so Chuck gets the lift from Allison, and we get the rehash again. I haven't heard from you in 6 years. He's like, hey, I got busy, baby. You know, what's the deal?
It's very hands-on. She's got 10... What's the proper hand signal? 10 and 2?
10 and 2.
Yeah, and Chuck's basically got his hands at 10 and 2 on her tits. Just dialing those stations in. And she's like, get off me. I'm trying not to swerve. Come on, Chuck. You're better than this. This is why I love this movie, though. Chuck the fucking creep.
Right, because I didn't think Chuck ever fucked in his whole life. Like, he's so asexual in every other movie that I was, like, so shocked that he wants to fuck, let alone he does it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always...
He fucks people up. That's what he does. He fucks
Right.
people up. Yeah,
But-
not with them.
He just does it in such a way where I'm like, he's afraid of emotions at all times. He's like, I have to show everyone I'm such a tough guy all the time.
Right.
I think this might be an example of that.
I don't even know how Chuck Norris has a child. I never even
He's
thought
got like 8 kids.
There's got to be...
Aaron being one of them. Who wrote this movie?
There's got to be some kind of Rumpelstiltskin thing where he, like, spun some straw to gold and he got a kid in return or something. 'Cause I always thought he was like a Ken doll, like, down there.
Dude.
And that's why he can do those kicks, because there's nothing down there to get in the way.
Well, they put that shit in slow motion in the end, and you can see that he's not really doing those kicks very well.
I think that he reproduces because when he's, how should we say, amusing himself on alone time, his sperms are so tough that they kick their way into somebody's womb and just make a little Chuck Norris.
You will have my...
So I don't think there is any emotion whatsoever. It's like a raiding party, isn't it?
Well, as we learned in the early 80s, guys, no means yes. So we just immediately...
Yeah, it does in these films, doesn't
We
it?
go immediately from the car to them fucking in the bedroom.
Yeah, it's literally like a face slap from Allison to Chuck, and she's like, no means no. Snap, they're in bed, there's a titty in the camera. What?
It's bad.
Which I've never seen in a Chuck movie. I know you're complaining, Stuart, about this movie. I'm like, have you ever seen nudity in a Chuck movie before? Come on.
I've seen the top half of him nude in pretty much every Chuck Norris movie.
Okay,
but
that's a good
there's
point.
been no emotion whatsoever.
Yeah.
Nope.
He was smiling a lot in this, at least.
I bet he was.
So, I think he did another movie with the same director of this movie. I don't remember what it's called. Good Guys Wear Black.
Okay. I haven't seen it,
Yes.
but I know what it is.
Yeah.
And based on the pictures I saw, that we have to watch it because he also got frisky in that one. And
So this
I think I've seen that one a long time
director
ago.
brought the horniness out of Chuck. He's like...
he brought the freak out of Chuck. I really hope in that movie there's some pumps in it. I really want to see Chuck just going to town.
Well, what I loved about this scene was, like, obviously he's got done fucking, and then he's ready for round 2. It's like, no, all right? And it's like, you guys just finish fucking. What's the issue? Like, she's almost like we didn't do it anymore. She's just like, I'm still mad at you.
Yeah.
You blew my mind. You blew my world, but I'm mad at you. And he's like, come on, baby. You know you want the...
But then she blew him.
And so... They just cut at the scene right there, right? It's just like they're at a stalemate. We don't know if they're going to get together. Cut to Charlie in a diner.
Yeah.
You don't know how common this is in America, man. Every time you're driving down a random road, you find a diner like this.
And so he's getting his omelet. It's the next morning. Chuck, I guess, was going to meet him there.
Charlie's eating 4 cheeseburgers. Chuck gets the omelet.
Isn't he? He's got like 2
That's
plates.
true.
He's got-
It's like,
He's
come
2
on,
meals.
seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a normal American lunch store, you know.
Yeah, it
don't
really
sweat
is. Charlie is the real American here. Chuck is the American dream.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The American fantasy. What we think we are, and then what we are.
Yeah, that seems about right.
But then what's with this woman that walks over to him in the diner, though, with like her boobs hanging out? What That is a bad design fault on that denim top.
Or is it good design?
They're
Oh,
hanging out.
no, man. If you went to one of our local, like, suburb county fairs, it's not so much boobs these days. It's more asses. Like, my brother was at the local fair with his kids, and he was just like, there's so many asses hanging out these days. What is happening? I don't know.
Not a body shaming, I guess.
In the 80s, it was all about boobs.
Yes, 80s was a very boob-central decade.
Yeah.
And
I love the 80s.
and so, not only is her boobs right, she's got tattoos to really accentuate them. And I guess she's just fucking with Charlie. She has no interest, but she's taunting him, teasing him.
I think she's a little into it.
She's a little chubby chaser.
I think she was the best character in this movie.
Yeah, she was.
Thank you.
Yep.
Her arc seems very real to me. You know?
So does her chest.
She likes the power. She likes a little chub. She likes that he's got that cute little young face to him. You know?
Okay.
She wants his cheeseburgers. That's what it is.
She also wants the cheeseburgers.
She's like, I want his meat. Yeah.
And she's also the biggest member of the gang. That's what I thought was funny. Everyone else is like these little shrimpy guys.
She was towering over them.
So Chuck shows up. He's like gonna give all the details to Charlie, play by play.
Yeah. About his fuck night?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he's like, hey, give me that omelet with onions.
Omelet with onion?
Yeah. I don't get it either. But obviously the bikers have issues with cops, and they see he's got the cowboy hat on.
Yeah, start trying to antagonize him. Hey, cowboy, what you gonna do? You know, no one can fuck with us. We're the biker gang. Look at this girl's boobs. Tattoos on them.
Look at her tattoos.
Chuck.
Yeah.
Spelled correctly.
Yeah. Clearly not just like, what do they call those? Temporary tats.
No.
They're
Chuck,
so real.
calm, cool, and collected. He doesn't even give him time of day. Charlie's a little pissed. He's getting bothered by it.
Definitely.
He actually thinks he's a shot with this chick. So he's like...
He really...
Hey, Charlie's like, oh shit, my cheeseburgers are going cold. I need to get back in there.
Well, you've been talking...
Who stole my garnish?
Well, you've been talking. I haven't been eating. What's wrong with me?
So Charlie, he's like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this work, and then good old Chuck puts his arm around him. He's like, there, little man.
What happened to Charlie's parents? I think they're dead.
Charlie's?
I think he
Is
ate
it
them.
Charlie?
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie.
Charlie, well, like I said, I think he was in some group home or something. He just wandered off, and he's like, I want to be a cop now. And they're like, here's your gun.
I want to be a police officer. Yeah.
That's pretty much our police force here. America's too big.
Oh.
That's the problem.
Oops.
So we go back to the lab, Griff. What's going on with
let's go
with
back
John
to the lab?
Kirby?
He's probably dead still, right?
Well, maybe not. Because Phil goes, Tom, I know I told you about that shit. I was going to let him die in peace, but check this out. And so he pulls out a scalpel, and he goes, he does like a grid on the guy's chest, and they start playing tic-tac-toe on his chest.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, hey, wait, I like doing that, but it's healing. What's going on here?
It's like Wolverine.
Exactly. I heard that Hugh Jackman actually watched this movie to study for his role as Wolverine.
I'd appreciate that. I think I would like the Wolverine movies more to know that.
And so he's like, think of it. We could cure every disease with this. He's healed. And Tom's like, maybe you're onto something here, but we need more tests.
Yeah, we need 5 million more units of Mitogen 35.
He's like, 22 is insane. What are you talking about? And it's like, hey, man, we got it. Might as well use it.
I mean, if this works, think of the money. This is how American healthcare works. It's all about let's just make as much money. That's why insulin costs $4,000 a week now.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah.
How much would this stuff cost then? This the number 35.
35.
I've got enough money. I'll just buy the 34.
Considering what it does, I think only Jeff Bezos was owning maybe Zuckerberg.
Mm-hmm.
And they would just be like jumping off buildings all the time, like, bitches, we can't die.
Right.
Maybe that's how Tom Cruise keeps doing what he does. He's high as a kite on this stuff.
No, that's because Scientology is
Possible.
real.
So this justifies why they need money for like 10 lifetimes, because they're never going to die. So it all makes sense. So our man Chuck shows
Dan.
up. He's like, hey, about that body, you done with it?
Yeah, death certificate. Maybe I could actually get the body. I've got a Bronco out front. Let's just chuck her in there and get on with our day.
Why would the sheriff need the body, though, of a guy who's just a dead person? Would the sheriff go, I'm here to collect
because
it? No, I don't think it would.
Well, they were supposed to take it to the morgue. I don't know why they were allowed to take the body to the lab to begin with. I mean,
this wasn't like an official lab, like a hospital. It was a lab. It was a science lab instead of a hospital. So I think that's what the issue was.
So he wants the body, and they're like, oh, yeah, we'll get it for you. Yeah, hold on a second. And what's happening, Griff?
You just need to talk up. You're pigeoning
My
us.
mouth is like right on this fucking mic.
Well, use a larger voice.
I'm talking like Seagal for this episode.
Thank you.
Has anybody seen Murray?
Murray!
Let's go get that glass dragon for you. Get you amped up.
I'm lost, so why don't you take over from there?
So Chuck wants...
You just won over by the beauty of Chuck Norris without a beard.
I was just thinking of Chuck Norris without his shirt, and I got discombobulated.
It's all right. It's also these pictures I have across the back of my wall here of Chuck just strutting. So he wants the body, and Phil comes out and just like, oh, here's the thing. There's no body. I have to do more tests. And he's like, I got to take these to the official morgue. No. This body's with us. We're doing science stuff with this. You wouldn't understand it. Your small conservative brain. You don't understand science. We're turning this guy into a Frankenstein. That's what you think, don't you? Climate change is real, bitch. Get out. Chuck, walk. And it just so happens that Allison walks up. And she kind of disputes. She settles things. She's like, here's the death certificate. And Chuck's still trying to make sure he locks that down. So he's like, okay. I'll walk away from this. But I'm not happy about it.
Okay, so they set up a date. I think while that's going on, I guess Tom gets kind of a conscience. And he starts arguing with Phil. It's like, we can't do this. This is unethical. So Tom walks out, right, and quits.
Yeah, Tom gets fired by Phil. I don't get why Tom is even doing surgeries because he's a psychiatrist.
He's both. He's a double threat, I guess.
It's not very common around here.
Well, that just shows how amazing Tom is, that he can be a psychiatrist and a surgeon. I mean,
and married to an artist, all at the same time.
And he looks like a young Al Pacino as well.
Really?
If you look at his mannerisms, he's like, I could have been in The Godfather, for God's sake. I could play Michael Corleone.
I think he could. I liked him.
He could.
Well, yeah, if you're married to an artist, you got to have two jobs because they ain't making any shit. So
it's getting a little tense up in here, Murray. Can we relieve this tension a little bit?
Yeah, this is like strike number 1 why I hate. Well, strike number 10, I think, why I hate Charlie in this movie. Because Charlie, all he's really good for is driving. And I think Chuck doesn't like to drive, so he keeps Charlie around. So Charlie goes, I just don't know if I'm cut out. He just got that pep talk earlier, and he's already still like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this shit. And let me tell you a story about when I was a child. He basically admits that he's a serial killer, basically.
Yeah.
Because he's like, yeah, I got this. My mom gave me a dog when I was like 7 years old. And because I was going through people's CDs, and she was like worried about me. So he was a little white dog, and I got him a little dirty. So like, I'd be totally creeped out if I was hearing this story. Chuck just takes it like it's no big deal.
He's never heard of a dog, I think. He's like, what is dog?
So he's like, okay, so I put him in the toilet and I washed him, because that's what you do.
I thought the washer was a bad idea, so I put him in the toilet.
So there's actually thought behind it, too. That shows what a sick fuck Charlie is, because there was a thought process. He's like, and then I need to dry him, and, you're not going to put a dog in a dryer. That's crazy. So I took him to a deep freezer my mom has. I put him in it. And then I fucked off and went playing for like 10 hours. And then when I got home, my mom's like, why the fuck is there a frozen dog in my deep freezer? And I was like,
Chili dog.
And he's like, oh. And then I'd be immediately like, can you hand me your gun right now, Charlie? And like lock this fucking guy up.
Go ahead.
Pull over, please,
Pull
Charlie.
over.
Give me the key.
Pull over.
Give me the key. And give me your gun.
Get out of the car. You no longer work for the force. Here's a
crazy fuck.
Here's a number of a doctor.
But no, he's like, well, I still want to stomp on your Second Amendment rights. I'm not going to ask you for your gun. You're clearly insane.
No, stay strapping, because you're even more in trouble now.
So I'm guessing Chuck is a little creeped out, but he needs his driver. So
I think it was all about distraction at this point.
Exactly. Because he notices in the corner of his eye, there's a bar, all these motorcycles. And he's like, hey, we haven't fucked with a biker gang in a while. It's like, these guys, they're not committing any crimes.
Well, Chuck told him to leave town, and he sees that bike that he knows belongs to that one gang member with the headband.
I love that. It's like, so far they've done nothing illegal. And it's like, leave fucking town.
All he's done is antagonize a little bit, and the girl came on to Charlie, and Chuck is so offended, he's like, spin this skiff around. And so they do a fucking crazy ass stunt in the middle of the road. Aaron Norris spent 9 days perfecting this.
He was doing the stunt. He's had a fat suit on.
Yeah, you can actually look at the passenger, and his hat is suddenly missing. Because Chuck wasn't in the car. But they turn around, and we're about to have an old-fashioned bar fight. And not just any bar, but this is apparently the Texas Rangers during this time always went to this bar. And by Texas Rangers, I don't mean actual Rangers. I mean the baseball team, the Texas Rangers. This was their club.
This was a real bar? It looked like some fucking
This was
set.
a real bar. Yeah.
God, Texas Rangers must have really sucked.
Unless IMDb is lying to us, which they might be. So who the fuck cares?
Are.
So probably the coolest fight, right?
Yeah, the bikers are having a great old time. They're just drinking. Nothing bad's going on.
Boobs everywhere
Boobs
again.
Everywhere.
Now, how did we feel about Charlie actually manning up in this scene?
Does he man up?
Stuart, do you remember this scene?
Yeah, I've got this scene playing. I'm following the movie as we.
Well,
Rika, he's standing there. I mean, he's got his hands on his hips, so maybe that. I don't know. Is that manning up?
In Chuck's defense, the bartender does have a noose around his neck and is like,
he's yeah.
So there are some shenanigans going on.
Shenanigans. See, in America, we call nearly murdering somebody shenanigans.
Yeah, it's people kidding around.
You're right.
Don't mean any harm.
Everyone's smiling.
But Charlie shows up. He walks in. Chuck says, just stay quiet and follow my lead. And instead, Charlie yells out, all you motherfuckers, get up against the wall.
Well, he saw that girl that he likes, so he wanted to, impress her.
That might have been it.
And it worked. Because she walks right over to him. He's like, hey, you want to see these? Pops the tits out. She's like, they're almost as big as yours, Charlie. And Charlie's like, good, And then Chuck's like, reading the scene. He's like, you wait outside. You're titty blind right now. I'm going to take care of business. So Charlie, like a fucking 5-year-old, immediately gets on the horn with the TV. I just saw some titties.
Dude. How did you not?
But he leaves. He leaves Chuck in a bar with about 400 gang members. Yeah. Okay, I'll go wait in the car. That's not manning up at all.
But still, he does say, getting up against the wall, you motherfuckers. He uses a commanding voice.
And then when shit starts to go down, he immediately runs outside. And he's like, I'm going to ask her to marry me. Because it's the first tits he's ever seen. So he's just in love, you know.
He's talking all day about the tattoos and stuff. Oh, wonderful.
Chuck's inside getting battered.
He is.
It's not good. Go help Chuck.
Poor Chuck is getting battered, but it's not so bad because, I don't know, he must be on that Mitogen 35. Because he's getting pool sticks, he's getting chairs, he's getting stomped all day. And he just pops right back up.
Just like some mutagen 35s coursing through his veins. That's how he just pops up. And then he just commences to just fuck everybody up in this bar. And he's just roundhouse this, roundhouse that.
Yeah.
Kills everybody.
This is like one of the best bar fights until Out for Justice comes out.
Well, yeah, because I didn't notice any hot dogs at all in this scene.
No.
Whose hot dog is this? I don't remember hearing that.
Oh my god. I love that scene. Just him knocking over with these flail little wrists that he runs with. Ah. Oh.
Did you listen to the Out for Justice episode yet, Stuart?
The which one, sorry?
Justice one we just did. Did you listen to that yet?
Yes, I just listened. I love the Seagal ones you guys do. It's amazing. Yep. Even though I am a self-professed fan of Steven Seagal, I still love the episodes because he deserves every bit of flack.
I have no problem enjoying his movies, but he is kind of a shit.
Did you hear that he was joking? He was on set and he said, "I can survive being choked out. I'm immune to it." So one of the stunt guys choked him out, and Steven Seagal was not immune to it. He actually choked him out.
Gene LeBell
Amazing.
Himself did it, yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So you did hear the classic line, "Whose hot dog is it?" We were. I guess we had some. We had some technical difficulties with that.
We were trying to bring that up when we were in our early hours, but that time.
The only thing I couldn't hear was the clips. So you guys were like, "Here's the clip."
Yeah.
And then there was no clip, so I just made up my own dialogue.
I have no idea what happened with the audio in that because it was the same file, but I re-uploaded it. Yeah, those clips are missing. But
so
if you re-downloaded it, it should be available. But yeah, it fucking sucked. I was really annoyed to find that out.
Good episode though, so don't worry about it.
Let's get back to Chuck. He's fucked up everybody. Only one guy left is the leader of the biker gang, hiding behind the bar. So apparently they drove one of their motorcycles inside the bar because that's what bikers do.
That's what I would do.
And so he's like, I gotta get out of here. So he starts up his motorcycle, and I forget what Chuck did. Did he roundhouse him?
No, Chuck just scared him off, and he just fucking drove his motorcycle through the window.
Okay, I thought he did something to him to make him go want to go through the window.
Maybe he kicked him in the face. I don't remember.
Either way, the motorcycle goes out the window. The biker hits the fucking top of the window.
Yeah.
Gets decapitated. Dies.
Dies.
And then Charlie's like, "You didn't hurt my girlfriend, did you?" And he's like, "No, she's okay. I only punched her a couple times."
Once in each nip.
I think
talking tits.
We joined Chuck back at home. Not Charles, but Dan, a.k.a. Chuck Norris.
Dan Stevens.
I hate that there's a character in this named Charles. I hate it. Because when we say Chuck, it might mean Charles.
I don't think there was Charlie. There's nobody named Charles. I mean, I technically, yes, Charles is Charlie, but nobody was called Charles in this movie. I want to point out for all comic nerds, Chuck's character is named Dan Stevens, who's also the artist who created The Rocketeer. So, there you
nice.
Go. Some nerd knowledge for you.
So, Chuck's preparing at home. What is he up to?
With Allison.
He's got 9 records laid out. Did you notice his CDs were all covered?
Yeah, nobody.
Pretty sure you did.
I absolutely noticed that because I was like, what the fuck? I want to look through those and see what you're into. He put out 4 records, though. And so he's basically saying, judge me on these 4 records. In which case, fuck you, Chuck. I want nothing to do with you.
Well, not only does he have his records out, he's got 10 different tube socks laid out on his bed. And he's like, what am I going to... Because he's got a hot day with Allison tonight. So, and he knows he's going to get a bit lucky. if he's got his tube socks on.
Oh, yeah.
So he's just like, which will I wear? This pair. So while he's putting it on, Allison just walks in his house.
Yeah,
very Griff-like. She's like, well, I saw you,
Straight
so
for
I
the
can
CD
walk in your
collection.
house.
Okay, I'm not even going to lie. I would do this. If I was fucking Chuck Norris and I walked up to his house and I saw him there putting on tube socks, I'd be like, yeah, what's up, dude? I'm walking in your house.
Would you be fucking Chuck Norris? I don't know. Has he won you over?
No, not at this point. But in the 80s, maybe.
Blonde-haired, mustache.
With a beard,
Chuck
you're like, I'm in.
Yeah. The problem I have is, like, zoomed out, I'm like, oh, shit, Chuck, let's get in on that. But once you zoom in and it's just like it turns into a desert disaster, I'm like, no. Stop faking. Stop lying to me, Chuck.
Well, we got to point out that Chuck's it's like a see-through door. I don't know what you call it. It's glass.
Yeah.
So she sees
it's
him.
a screen door, but it's a window door. Yeah.
So she sees him putting the tube socks on. So she's just hot and bothered. She just immediately just walks in.
Yeah.
And Chuck knew she was there. He's like, "Oh, Allison, how's it going?" Finishes putting the tube socks up.
Oh, dropped your phone, huh?
I got fucking like thinking about Chuck and tube socks.
See, we're on the same team here. We would tag team Chuck.
So they're like, you know what? He's shirtless, of course, because he's shirtless in half the movie. And he's like, about that dinner, how about we just forget about that and go straight to desserts?
You mean forget about it?
Forget about it.
Forget about it. Yeah.
Allison's like, I'm looking for Richie.
Have you seen Richie? Has anybody seen Richie?
And so Chuck puts on his best fuck music, and we get this great song.
His best fuck beret.
In fact, I want to hear a little bit of it. Let's play that song while we're talking about it.
Oh, yeah, you just want... Okay, I'll just put that on.
Because it's the only music in the movie. And so we get the most bizarre fuck montage I've ever seen. They're in bed. Chuck, first of all, I don't think Chuck fucks. I don't think Chuck was even... Because he's got his pants on at all times. He's got the action pants on. I think he was wearing them in the first sex scene, too. I don't think they ever had sex.
I know what we think of sex scenes. We talk about them all the time. When we go off air, all we do is talk about the sex scenes. Stuart, how'd you feel about these sex scenes?
These ones? I don't think Chuck has sex.
He's with me.
No.
Oh, no, so. I mean, we know he doesn't have sex. The music.
The scenes are kind of weird in a Chuck Norris movie. This is the first time I've ever seen him making love to anything other than a rocket launcher.
This is why this movie.
So it was kind of weird. And then you got Katie Seagal from Sons of Anarchy, who's the vocalist for the song. It's kind of weird.
I just found that out tonight, and I wanted to bring that up.
She
That's
sings
awesome.
this song that we're listening to right now?
Yeah. Katie Seagal,
awesome?
No relation to Steven Seagal.
Yeah, absolutely no relations. Katie
she
Seagal
can actually sing.
He could do it.
And she's actually a treasure. We adore her here.
We do.
First we get they're on a bed with a El Leon fruit tray. It's just pineapples and Budweiser beer.
It's beautiful.
Well, it's not that beautiful because Chuck basically just kind of kicks it off the bed. It's like, why is this fruit tray on the bed?
We're talking about fruit tray.
See, that'd be better. Like a cucumber would have been more use, really, wouldn't it?
Oh, jeez.
That's in his pants.
That could have.
But
and then we switch to they're in a hammock. It's like the weirdest fucking montage I've ever seen. And he's really.
See, do you see how fast they're going in the hammock? They're going to get
aggressive.
Sick. One of them's going to go. Isn't it? They're going to spin around.
It's one of those
like
situations
gravity.
where, like in the old days, where you couldn't show people fucking, so you'd see a train going in a tunnel. It's just insinuation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Champagne cork.
Because I was going to say, I'm a hammock owner, and I know that the physics don't work out in this way. They don't work out at all.
They do when Chuck's on it.
But of course, there's also a El Leon fruit tray in the scene as well.
Right.
And in the fury of things, he kicks it over.
Right.
Because their fucking is so crazy.
That's a metaphor for orgasm right there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It's called kicking the fruit tray.
Hey, I just learned something.
A little euphemism for you. When you're about to finish the deed, it's called kicking the fruit tray.
You fruitism.
Fruitism. Then we see like
fructose. Yeah.
Then we see Chuck climbing a tree. It was like really this weird.
That was the weirdest. You know what? We should send that one to some colleges to study because I don't know what was supposed to happen there. It broke my brain.
So either way, we end it. They're like on a deck, and like, whoo, he's got the towel around his neck again. He's like, wow, that was a great fuck scene we just had.
It's the first fuck montage we've ever had.
I hope it's not the last.
I really do too. I hope good guys wear.
Keep watching Steven Seagal movies, and you'll probably get some.
How nauseating a Seagal fuck montage would be. Like him just eating food.
It's probably on a couch.
I've watched like 5 Seagal movies, and he's only fucked in Hard to Kill.
But everybody wants to fuck him. That's the crazy thing.
Oh, no, everybody wants to fuck him, but Hard to Kill is the only one I could think of where somebody, quote, fucks him.
And then they get killed, like, immediately.
Yeah.
And so he's like, hey, why don't we go to my cabin in the mountains later tonight?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, it sounds good. So while that's going on, Tom... He returns home. You said earlier, we see his wife, the artist.
Nancy, painting beautiful portraits. It's abstract as fuck.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, if you can't paint, it's fine.
I
And was her art studio on a porch? Because there's like a window that went into her art studio.
Dude, they had the coolest fucking house ever. I loved it. It was like an outside studio type of thing. But Tom comes in, and he's hot, and he's cold, and he doesn't know what he is. He's exhausted. Phil's bugging him. This is the work life of an American. So he comes in, he slumps over, and she hits us with that classic American line. Hey, bet you want a pizza. And, right? We all do. So
she's like, I got some Domino's coupons. He's like, and he's like, fine, if you get it, I'm into it. So she takes off.
It's daylight, by the way.
And then it's immediately nighttime.
So I don't know what happened with this pizza transaction, but apparently she's either fucking somebody or getting art.
I think she took the same route I took to get here today.
Maybe.
Because there was like fucking train and all this bullshit in the way.
Yeah.
And so he's hungry, man. He missed his lunch earlier.
I have so many questions about this exact scene.
So a very odd transition. It's like midnight now. So he has a midnight snack. Opens up the fridge, pulls out a giant salami.
Is it salami?
I don't know. It was probably too big for a salami.
I thought bologna.
It could have been a bologna. It was big.
It's Chuck. It's from Chuck. It's his stunt dick.
And he just flops it on the table, whips out this fucking 2-foot Rambo knife.
Who has this knife?
Slices a nice little slice of the bologna off.
He rips the plastic off with his teeth. Like, who does this?
He's hungry. He's been waiting for this pizza for 5 hours.
It's a good point. 5 hours.
And he just takes a piece of bologna and then just leaves everything on the table and goes down to the basement. and we learn not only is he a surgeon, a psychiatrist, he's also in his spare time a photographer.
Of course he is.
So he's got like the red light on. He's looking at. I don't know. I'm guessing that him and his wife have some kind of like swinger type life, and they got some crazy pictures. And he's.
It's photos of Chuck, actually.
Probably.
It's outtakes of Chuck with his shirt off.
Sex with his wife. He's cool with it. And while that's going on, we see that our man John Kirby, he's like Michael Myers lurking outside watching. And he's like, man, I got to have me some of that bologna, man. So he goes into the house, cuts off a big slab of bologna, grabs that knife, and he follows Tom down to the basement. Tom, just as he's about to stab Tom spins around. And did you notice what was going on with John Kirby's like outfit? It was like this like plastic sweatsuit.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? I don't know what it was. It's like it fell out of a science fiction film from
Yeah,
'79.
It looked like something from like Logan's Run or something. Like,
Yeah, it did. What film am I in?
yeah,
I don't know.
like, you know what it looked like? Those things like if you're like a wrestler or a boxer and you're trying to like lose weight and you put out the plastic shit on because it'll make you sweat. It was just really weird.
I think Logan Run is the most appropriate because that's all I could see. But the other thing that bothered me about it was the socks pulled over the shoes.
Yeah, that was the look. It was tube socks. You got to show them off.
It reminds me of something what Kanye would do today.
And he would say he invented it.
Exactly. So when Kanye does it,
you heard it here first on Golan-Globus Theater.
Yep.
Silent rage. So he almost kills Tom. Tom gets away.
Yeah.
He tries to reason with him. He's like, come on, snap out of it.
Yeah. Well, once he gets out of the basement and gets his gun, because of course he's packing heat.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's Texas.
Right.
So he locks him in like some room, and he's like, John, I'm going to come in. I'm packing heat. Don't fuck with me, dude. Stand your own ground. You know the law.
As long as you say, that's what I'll let you know, Stuart, if you ever come to America, if you say stand your ground, you can do whatever you want. You can shoot somebody as many times as you want.
Absolutely.
Just make sure you say stand your ground.
I fucking waterboarded somebody after I told them I'm standing my own ground. Even though it took 5 hours to strap him down.
So like a good American does, he just unloads on John. John goes down. John's dead, right?
He just walks back downstairs, getting himself a nice slice of bologna.
John pops right back up. Apparently, Tom didn't get the message. This guy can heal himself, even though he was just there earlier.
He watched the demonstration.
Yeah,
he's clearly never seen Halloween as well.
Or that, yeah.
And so he shoots him again, and he goes down again.
Falls down a flight of stairs.
And he's like, "Whoa, you can't. That's just unloaded like 20 bullets in this guy. There's no way he's alive."
I'm just gonna go look at this guy's fly jacket. I think I want it.
And comes back to life like every classic slasher villain. Grabs his leg. I forget how he killed him. How did he kill him? Did they even show him killed Tom?
Don't know. He took a header down the stairs, and who knows? And up again.
Yeah, I remember him falling on the stairs. He grabs Tom's leg.
Yep.
Tom.
And there's a bit of a scuffle. No, it's not as good of a punch up as Chuck Norris would do. There's no roundhouse kicks or anything like that, so it's a little bit disappointing.
Aaron's 8, so we'll give him some room. I think he strangled him.
We'll go with
Straight up strangled him. Yeah.
Okay, so he strangles Dr. Tom.
Leaves him there, like, hanging into the living room.
So I'm going to guess, like, another 3-4 hours later, Nancy finally shows up with that pizza.
I mean, if you're from the States, you know that pizza takes 9.5 hours to cook. A good pizza. A real pizza.
Right. A real kind of Italian one that Steven Seagal would make. From the old neighborhood.
She drove from Dallas. Oh, I'm sorry. She flew from Dallas to the Bronx to get a nice slice.
Yeah, nice New York stuff.
She bumped into Steven Seagal, had a bit of flirting and a bit of a coraggio going on.
Her cover was she had a
and
6-pack of
stuff,
seltzer. She was like, I can only get this in New York. and it turns out she didn't need to say anything because, as she finds out, Tom is dead. Or I don't even know if she even found out. But she walks in, fucking crazy guys there.
Yeah, this was...
Yeah, she finds him dead on the floor. It's like, oh, God, young Al Pacino's dead.
Oh, man. This was the only thing that was really creepy for me because, like, while she's, like, Tom's dead and holding his head.
Eating a pizza, a slice of pizza.
Eating a nice
Hey, man,
slice.
that shit's getting cold, you know?
It's like 8 hours cold at this point, so yeah.
She's cutting a slice of bologna, putting it on it. She's like, this is pretty good.
But you
Why don't they put bologna on pizza? It's like a Seinfeld episode now. And
thanks, George. But you have John in the background just like lurching over. Do you remember that?
Yeah, he was doing like some kind of gorilla-like pose. Like, it was some crazy shit.
That That was the creepiest thing from this movie for me.
And it's what we've learned from horror movies, especially slasher movies. You immediately go to the highest point in the house that you can't escape. So she runs to the attic.
Where the CDs are.
Where the CDs are, gathering dust.
Yeah.
And that's what, if you know what? If the CDs are in the cell, the basement or the attic, it's okay to go through them.
I have to go into your house.
Because obviously
I've never been in your basement or your attic,
yeah,
but you're saying
you never will because you're a fucking thief. Well, you're even worse than a thief because you just like to touch people's shit and then walk away from it. It's not good enough. For
I
you.
like to cough on it too. I like to lick on. I like to spread germs.
So we get a little. This is where we get tension, Griff, because she's freaking out,
a little,
hiding in the attic. He finds her, stabs her. I don't fucking remember. She's dead.
No, she waits 5 minutes. She's like, I'm sick of reading the fucking thank you section of this NSYNC album. I'm gonna head back down there. I think he's gone. So she heads back down.
And he's not.
Go ahead, Stu. Tell us about this.
It's like the first rule of being chased by somebody is you stay where you're hiding for hours. For hours. I remember that from a kid. You do not go, I think they're gone. I'm going to go out now. Because, no.
Just leave the house.
Doesn't happen.
No, she goes right to the attic.
You do.
Where there's no escape.
Yeah.
But, hey, we're doing slasher movie logic, so it makes sense.
That's true. This is before Scream, where we actually learned the rules.
Exactly. And so she gets killed. And so now Allison shows up because I guess she lives too far away for this next fuck rendezvous that she's going to have with Chuck, so she needs to freshen up at their house instead. Or maybe she's living with him. I don't know anything about Allison's life. I'm not judging. I don't know.
What's happening? You mean Allison lives with them?
Why?
Because come on, it's America. She doesn't make enough being a secretary.
You know what? In the early 80s, you could make a living.
Apparently she wasn't. She lived
I don't
with her
know.
brother.
I don't know what their situation is. Was there mail for her laying out that you saw that you know that she lived here?
Absolutely.
He went through the CDs. He knows what she's got.
There's no way.
And they were
no way
mixed
Tom
in.
and Nancy would have these CDs.
Exactly. Tom, I already know. He's like a fish freak, and I hate him for it. Nancy's got the Bjork thing going on. And then, obviously, Allison's got the country folk thing. She's Brooks and Dunn. She's Garth Brooks.
She's Urban Cowboy. That's why she likes Chuck so much, because he wears that cowboy hat just so
well, they call him Cowboy in this movie. So, obviously, I figured this all out from rifling through their CDs. Yes, Murray. I'm Columbo of CDs. So, no, the big clue is Chuck, a.k.a. Dan, I'm going to go home and get my stuff. I'll be back here in an hour. Apparently, she lives also as far as the pizza place because she drives for 14 hours, comes home, and is now starting to get her stuff to go back to Chuck's.
Yeah, I think she takes a shower, she freshens up.
Yeah.
And as she's putting her clothes on, she closes the door, and what the fuck? Tom is hanging from the back of the door.
I like this about these brain dead killers where they have the know-it-all to be like, let me hide the body in this room, and also let me hide this other body on the hanger of this room.
Griff, they're not hiding. It's all about terrorizing this woman. He probably did this while she was taking a shower. He's all about mind games.
See, I like it how American hangers will support a body weight. If I have more than 3 dressing gowns on my hanger behind the door, it rips the goddamn thing out of the wood.
I mean,
so American craftsmanship.
I'm looking
very
at my
impressive.
front door right now, and it's about 45 pounds of solid American wood.
They don't make it like that anymore.
No.
That sounds like Chuck Norris. So many pounds of solid American wood.
Did I?
How would you hang a body on one of those little hooks, though? Is it like the little label in the back of his shirt or something? Because I don't know. How is there something? Is there a special harness that you buy for hanging bodies on doors?
I have to imagine as a psychiatrist, he's kind of a freak. So he had body piercings. He was in
just like Hellraiser.
It might be like a Hellraiser type thing. I mean, I've been to
That's kinky,
Theater Bazaar where they had the body hanging people there, so I think that's kind of what he had going on.
So he's into like body suspension, you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Makes sense.
We can go
The
with
beard, the psychology, also I'm a surgeon and also I'm a photographist. Yeah, I could see him being
a photographist.
Photographist.
What did I do?
I take a picturist. Yeah, so one of them ones. Yeah. He's a photographist.
Either way, she's freaking out now. So she runs out. She stumbles across Nancy's body. Her hands are covered in blood. She runs out. You're thinking, oh, shit, it's going to be fucking John, going to finish the job. No, she runs into our man Dan, a.k.a. Chuck.
Yeah, Dan happened to be...
Chuck's like, for fuck's sake, this is yet another shirt I'm going to have to take off in about 2 minutes' time because you've got blood on it. Thank you. Somebody get me another shirt in about an hour.
What an excuse to take this shirt off.
And this is his best country and western shirt, too. And
okay, I will say, here's the thing I appreciate about a Chuck. Leaves the chest hair.
Yeah.
Doesn't shave it.
This is the early 80s. Nobody shaved their fucking chest.
Yeah.
Well, Chuck couldn't because his chest hair would break razor blades. Yeah. Can't shave. It's like Superman.
Hey,
don't
Bruce
worry.
Lee ripped some of it out, so it's
Oh yeah, he did, didn't he?
It shows you how badass Bruce Lee was. And so he's like, "All right, I'll call it in if I have to. I just want to go to this fucking. I want to fuck you in our cabin, but it's your brother, so I'll call it in."
I'm so confused about his earnings as a sheriff of a fucking small ass Dallas podunk town.
Griff, people cared about their employees at one time. I know you're too young to remember this, but you could actually make a living wage off one person.
I mean, I did think that there's no way Allison could live on her paycheck.
Well, that's why she wants to hook up with this catch, Dan. Because he's
so
the sheriff of. I got to believe if you're the sheriff of a city, you have make enough money to live on your own.
I'd hope so. But we saw Dan's place, and it's fucking amazing. There's a helipad on that place.
I mean, at one time, you could work at, like, GM and have a summer home up north. I mean...
Yeah, when we cared about workers.
Right. So this is still at that time. We're starting to not care anymore.
Okay. So he's got the helipad. He's got the fucking mansion in the mountains. Where are the mountains in Dallas?
I have no idea.
I have no idea where they're driving to.
Obviously, they drive, like, hours everywhere. The pizza place is 10 hours away, so...
The Dallas Mountains are at Chuck's house. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, are there mountain? There's no mountain range in Texas.
No, there isn't. Dallas is almost as flat as Michigan, except there's more oil rigs.
Okay, so they call it in, and like this is the early '80s, Griff. So you're like, this woman's hysterical. Put her on drugs.
Oh yeah.
He's like, Charlie, take her to the lab.
Not even to a hospital. Take her to the lab.
And shoot her up with some morphine. I can do that.
Charlie's all about it. I'm getting skeptical of Charlie at this point.
Fuck Charlie. So Dan, he's talking to... He talks with Phil. He's like, I got to talk to Phil. What's going on with this shit? With this John guy. I thought he was dead. Your buddy Tom, I think he doesn't even know. I think he doesn't know about John, right? At this time, he doesn't know about John. He just knows there's a crazy killer.
Yeah. Are we talking about Dan's affiliation with John?
Yeah. Well, Dan he goes to Phil. While she's being medicated, air quotes, downstairs, he's talking with Phil about Tom being found dead. And Tom is finally hitting him. He's just like, oh,
Phil.
Shit, I played God for too long. Like, what have I done? My best friend is dead now. And so Dan's like, yeah, okay, well, I'm going to go check on Allison. So he goes down there. Phil by himself. He's got a drink out. He's just like, oh, my God, why did I bring this psycho killer back to life?
Yeah.
I gotta end it. We have to kill this guy because I think John goes back to the lab, right? Like after he's just drawn back to the lab for some reason.
For whatever reason, Frankenstein's monster comes back to Dr. Frankenstein.
Right. So
he's a homing killer. That's the thing.
He's got to
he's part
He's got to
pigeon.
recharge his batteries, get some of that Mitogen 35.
that's it. 'Cause I think he.
It's like,
I
give
think
me a
he did
script.
need to
Give
get
me some
Mutagen
dialogue,
35,
for God's sake.
I don't know.
I'd love for.
Is it like the Bourne Legacy? It was like, give me the chems, give me the chems, give me the chem, give me the pills, give me the pills, like that sort of thing.
It had to be.
He's
There's
like
no...
Richie with that crack, man. He just got to get back.
Shit! I forgot my crack pipe at the lab. Got to get back there.
So he's on the Frankenstein table, and like Paul, the other doctor, is like overseeing him, and like so.
Weren't they playing dumb to it? Like, no, he's been here the whole time.
I don't remember.
I don't know. But I do know that Paul is just like, look, if Tom's dead, there's no way anybody else did it. It's got to be John. He went missing for 2 hours. We got to kill him. So I got sulfuric acid right here, prepared. I'll pop it in a syringe. There's no science that allows this to work. As soon as that a sulfuric acid would be drawn into that syringe, it's gone. But he draws it in.
This is a special sulfuric acid syringe, though.
Oh.
It's specifically for injecting people with sulfuric acid.
I would...
It's some of that New Jersey shit, like that dodgy dog food.
Don't give me none of that radioactive.
That's what it is.
It is that radioactive New Jersey syringe. And so, of course, it can handle sulfuric acid with no problem.
I think it was some seltzer.
You think it was just seltzer?
Yeah, it was some seltzer water. And you ever try to inject that shit? It's not a good thing.
But you
get air bubbles. They say like you don't get an air bubble in an injection, it'll kill you.
I don't know, but when you put it in John, what might happen?
So of course, like in every movie, you got to put it in the neck. You can't just put it in like an IV tube or in the arm. It's got to be in the neck. So it gives in the neck, and then we get the readout, the EKG readout. And it goes, dude, and then it starts work, and then he like leaves. Right, he takes off.
Yeah. So we got Phil in his office, and he's just contemplating what he's just done as Frankenstein. And we got Paul walking off towards him. Apparently, Phil's office is underground.
I don't know.
That doesn't seem to be foreshadowing at all. But while Paul's walking there, it's this weird corridor. It's dark. There's pipes everywhere. It's dripping. And he turns around, and there's John standing there in his fucking crazy Logan's Run outfit, socks pulled over his shoes.
He's trying to cut weight, so he's like sweating.
Well, he sweats this whole movie.
You would too if you were in a plastic sweatsuit. I mean, it's a sweatsuit for a reason.
That's because he lost his script. That's why he's like, I'm going to get thrown off the set because I haven't said any lines in like
he just said
an hour for sure.
I'm losing it.
That's why I sweated.
I'm losing it, Doug.
Yeah, that was his only line.
And then that was it.
Was he good at least as a?
He lost his script.
Was he at least good as a creepy person with no lines?
I think so. I think he was sort of freaky ninja cat meets serial killer. So he was okay as a creepy
I mean,
person.
it's like he's laying on a table for most of the time. Then he's stalking two people. Did that okay.
You gotta wonder what his audition was like. It's like just stand there and just stare at us. Yep,
I have to imagine being like, "Hey,
that would knock your confidence."
I think you just had to be 5'10" just as long as you're taller than Chuck Norris.
Yeah,
you get the job
for sure. I have to.
It certainly wasn't like how well can you wield an axe.
He failed on that one.
I think that's the one he passed on. They were like, "Hey, chop some of this wood over here," and he did that, and they were like, "That is so unsettling." You got the job.
They're like, well, our killer won't be an axe murderer. We know that much. So he starts stalking Paul. Paul whips out he just tried to kill the guy with somehow the second time's going to work. These guys never learn. It's like, oh, I'll shoot him a second time and that'll work. So he pulls out the syringe again. Did you notice, like, it was obviously like a rubber syringe because the needle's totally bent?
It was interesting.
And then there's a struggle, and then Kirby gets a hold of the syringe, puts it in Paul's neck, kills Paul. While that's going on, we need some relaxation from all this tension, Griff. So we got to go back to your favorite character, my least favorite character, Charlie, watching over drugged out Allison, doing his best Robert De Niro impression from Taxi Driver.
This was great. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
This movie gives you everything, the full spectrum. You get horror, whatever Chuck Norris is, and Charlie for the comedy. It's perfect.
So he's doing the Taxi Driver, you talking to me routine. At this point, he has a squirt gun. Even like Chuck knows you're not allowed to have a gun anymore.
Did they take his gun away from him?
Yeah, I think he did. I don't know. And so... Fine, we've just released our tension, Griff. We're like, God, that Charlie's so hilarious with his Robert De Niro impersonation. I'm kind of warming up to him. No, I hate him. So, Phil, he's got a nice tumbler of scotch. He's thinking about like, man, my friend's dead because of me. I should have just, shouldn't have fucked with that mutagen 35. I should have just let that psycho killer die. Well, that's going on. Kirby shows up. And like you pointed out earlier, he's doing that weird kind of like gorilla walk. I don't know what it is, where he's like got his arms down on the ground. He's like crouched down.
I mean, Stuart, how'd you feel about this as like Frankenstein meeting his monster type of scene?
Oh, God, yeah. It is. Yep, I read about that online. It's like Frankenstein. It's like, yep, this is definitely the Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris.
And what about
Frankenstein.
the
Very
face
strange.
caressing? You think Frankenstein would get in on there on his monster?
I would hope not. It's a little bit. I mean, I'm all for enjoying your work, but that's a bit too enjoying it.
Where did you get those
really.
shoes
It's a
from,
bit
monster?
creepy.
They're great.
Did you think Billy Drago coached him on that face caressing scene? Because it was very...
Not well enough. I think if Billy Drago fully coached him, it would have been so
I think he's
better.
on the 9th level of Billy Drago acting. He's not even at a hot dog yet.
Yeah. No, it's more like on the Ivan Drago sort of bit of acting, really, isn't it?
You guys are right, because it doesn't work on the monster, and he snaps Phil's neck.
It's looking like Phil has a breakthrough. Like, he's got that giant gap-toothed smile just blaring at you.
He thinks he's getting through to Kirby, but he's dead inside.
I mean, this is technically a line from John. It's just...
I'm losing it.
So, I mean, that's something.
True, he'll get paid a little bit extra for that because he's got dialogue.
I mean,
so it's all right.
I know you work on movies too. If you said, Griff, I need you to fly out. I have a line. One line. Gah! I want you to do it in my movie. It may be cut. I'd probably still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you? I'll remember that. I'll write it into my next one.
Go ahead.
Yep.
Well, trust me, he can really call on his... If you ever need like a scumbag villain role, he can totally call back on his past.
If you need a guy flipping through CDs, it's me.
You can flip through all the CDs that my friend passed on to me.
Right.
Just have a look and
I can do that.
psycho profile it.
Maybe a hot dog vendor. I can do that. A horrible Chicago accent. Got that for days.
Can you do as good a Brooklyn accent as Mr. Seagal?
Yeah. I'll take that grandma slice over there next to the other one.
Yo, Tony, Richie, Vinny.
Meet me at the tube. That's the best I can do.
I think I'm going to call Garage.
Look at me and my... Can you wear a beret? You'd have to wear that.
What do you think? Imagine me with the beret right now.
Looks pretty good to me.
Looks pretty... Yeah. All right. So if you need a guy with the beret...
There you go. You're hired.
Do you have like a billowy blouse you can wear?
Whew. I'll get one. I'll happily get one.
So our man John, there's this giant hospital lab. I don't know what the fuck this place is, Griff, but he somehow manages to find Allison and Charlie. And this is my favorite scene because this is a scene where he puts Charlie in a bear hug and crushes him to death.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, poor
Yeah,
Charlie.
we've kind of overshadowed the fact that Charlie ran into... Well, Phil got killed. And then John's on the loose. He finds Charlie and...
Well, what happens is he's strangling a guard on the outside, and Charlie hears that.
Yeah.
And he's like got cookie crumbs all over himself.
Yeah, he was offering Allison cookies. He gave her...
Trying to find a vending
man.
He
machine.
gives her like a half-eaten cookie. Sorry, I ate them all. Aren't I adorable? And she's just like, give me more morphine.
That is very American. Give me the opioids, please.
And so he stumbles out, and then John applies the bear hug. It's like fucking Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 3 all over again.
He does the 3-arm thing.
Allison comes out and checks his arm, lifts it,
drops it.
Sadly, unlike Hulk Hogan, he doesn't Hulk up. He actually gets his back broken.
Stuart, does that scan the 3-arm thing? Do you understand what we mean by that? Okay.
No.
So there's this thing in wrestling that we do here in America where people would put each other in chokeholds, and to find out if they were still conscious, they would lift their arm and drop it 3 times.
Hulk Hogan, the third time, it would just stop, and then he would raise up and start pointing up in the air, and he like hulked up.
Right when it was about to hit the ring to count him out. So it was a big pop moment for wrestling. It's wonderful.
So Charlie does that. Well, no, he doesn't. 'Cause he dies.
You fucking asshole.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Dan, I forget what's Dan been up to?
Well, Dan's just been like driving around like, man, where's a pizza place? I can't find a fucking pizza place in this goddamn town.
He's got that loaf of bologna on the passenger side. He's cutting off a slice.
He was out by new shirts.
You're right.
Wait a minute.
He will
He had to
probably
go
need
home
some.
and get a new shirt, new tube socks. And he heads back. He heads back to the lab, hospital, whatever the fuck this place
Institute.
is. Haunted asylum. I don't know. All I know is everyone's dead in it because he finds the elderly security guard.
He got bonked as well in the head. And then he finds Charlie.
So we get the scene where, like, we go back and forth. Chuck looking for Allison. Allison hiding from Kirby. And we get a lot of that. We get like 5 minutes of this cat and mouse.
It was a lot. They're really... Is this a good tension technique?
Well, it kind of worked in Halloween 2, but it's not really working so well in
Because I was like on board for this movie for the most part, but then we started getting into these scenes where it was just like Allison walking around, and then I didn't get it at first, but then I was like, oh, this is first person John. I was like, this doesn't scan. This is neggy.
This is neggy hot. Yeah, I found I think the fight scenes of this movie were more realistic to like a real fight would be, like not, but that's boring. I don't watch action movies for like realistic fights. So I thought the choreography is pretty weak in this movie. I will say that much.
I mean, Chuck can't perform, so I think that was a lot.
Now he was only like 40 years old. I love how you act like Chuck Norris never won like a martial arts tournament in his life.
I don't know.
Or like 6 of them.
I don't know. It's just like what I see.
He trained with Bruce Lee.
That's fine. I think if you're trying to say like he trained with Bruce Lee, and then there's this movie, I think that is bad for him. I don't think that.
Yeah, but that's because this film had a bad photographist.
Okay,
Exactly.
Who was capturing it all.
Thank you.
It didn't work with it. Just bad
I'm
photographist.
taking your word on this.
The photographiliology of this movie was bullshit.
I don't even know what I said.
Photographiliology was
All I know
terrible.
is when I go back and listen to it and be like, yep, that was another. I griffed that moment.
So, yeah, it's like 10 interminable minutes of just looking. He's like,
It really is.
finally stumbles across our boy Charlie, clinging to life, just because he wanted to see Chuck one last time. I think he would have died.
Holy shit, we're going back. Okay. I'm so confused on where we are at this point.
Well,
so Dan finds Charlie.
Yes, Allison is still hiding from Kirby. He finds Charlie. I'm feeling cold. You know, that kind of, I'm dying kind of bullshit. So cold. And then, so Chuck has to make sure. So he grabs his arm, drops it once.
Oh, yeah.
2, sadly, Griff, 3.
Right before that third one goes down.
Because you could see, like, he's just waiting for him that third time because Charlie's like a tease like Hulk Hogan.
This was the most tension in the movie I can recall.
And so his eyes are lighting up. He's like, he's going to do it. And then the big chubby hand just goes splat.
Right on that cookie bowl.
It was kind of weird how he was eating like raw cookie dough like while he was dying. Like, where did he find a bowl of cookie dough? But he had it.
This is how us American obese people do it, man.
Yeah, I could just imagine his insulin bill. Shit. So Chuck finally stumbles upon Kirby. I think they're in the room with Phil's dead body. And I think Chuck just fucking drop kicks him out a window. He shoots him first.
Well,
yeah, he shoots him like twice through the jumpsuit that doesn't seem to have the holes in it previously had. So he's obviously got extra jumpsuits.
Made of adamantium, okay. Yeah.
So,
is that what it is?
Yeah, so he's
Not
just
only
it's Wakanda technology.
Mutagen 35, so it heals. I'm glad you brought that up because I have an issue later in the movie.
It's just like, Allison gets caught by John. She screams. Dan hears the scream, and then he comes running, and this is where we get that interaction, and he shoots him.
And of course it doesn't work.
Yeah, Wakanda technology forever. So
he's like, I guess I gotta fucking drop kick this motherfucker. So he drop kicks him out a window. Like they're like the 10th floor.
It should have been a rocket launcher.
Oh God, yes, it should have been. Charles Bronson would have used a rocket launcher.
Apparently, it took Aaron Norris or Mike Norris, whoever the stunt coordinator, many of days to get this perfected. Because you noticed the guy falling out the window was real.
Yeah.
Very
good
cool.
old days.
Was that the script writer? They just like kicked him out a window. Get out.
This was the good old days of action when stuntmen actually did stunts instead of like CGI shit. And so, like, he's got to be dead, right, Griff? I mean, he fell 10 stories. Not even Wolverine could survive that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we get that nice overhead shot of him just, like, limp, bloodied, glass everywhere. He's dead.
Yeah, he's dead. And so Chuck goes down there to make sure, holy shit, he's alive. So they do some kind of boring, like, wrestling, kind of grappling, rolling around on the dirt. And while that's going on, Allison jumps in a car. And she just hauls ass. She doesn't care who she hits. She just wants to hit somebody. So luckily, Chuck gets out of the way. She hits the dude. She said, Chuck, get in the car. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Even that was a real scene, too. If you notice, like, the guy was right there.
Well, that wasn't that impressive. They kind of just...
No, it's very obvious even in the movie.
But so they think they're home free, but no, he grabs onto the bumper and another stunt, a real stunt. The guy's getting dragged. He climbs in he busts out the back window or something. He climbs in, and he's reaching for him. So Chuck just goes, "I got an idea." Opens the door, kicks Allison out of a moving car. He jumps out. We learned that Kirby does not know how to drive because he grabs the wheel, but Jesus does not take the wheel this time. And fortunately, there's like a little cliff. Go over it. The law, car chases. If you crash, your car explodes. Guy gets out. He's covered in fire. He's burning up. Thankfully, there's a lake nearby. Dives in the lake. He's got to be dead, right, Griff?
I mean...
God, he's dead.
No way.
He's gone.
I mean...
Wrong!
No. Dumb. What?
He comes out, and I'm glad you pointed out, because not only does his sweatsuit heal bullets, it heals
It's fine.
flames, because it's just it's just charred a little. Like, he was like on fucking fire. But no, the suit is still intact. And at this point, I'm like, God, can the movie end already? Like, how many times can he fight this guy? Well, it turns out one more time. Because he do some more grappling. Chucks does a bunch of, like, kick him in the stomach roundhouses. Like you said, he can't get it high enough to kick him in the head.
I mean, were any of us impressed with...
Well, you can't in those jeans. You couldn't, could you? Denim. It's not very flexible.
I think he already had his action gene line at this point.
Well, maybe these were Action Gene 34s, not 35s, so they didn't work out.
God damn it!
So
you're
maybe
right.
after this movie, he's like, dude, it's too tight in the crotch. I can't kick people in the face with this.
Because this is another thing. I was completely unimpressed with this fight, especially, and they were doing like multiple shots of a single kick.
Well, yeah, like I said, it probably is more of a realistic fight, like if two crazy people were fighting. But this is a movie. We want fight choreography. We want to see some crazy ass shit we've never seen before, and it was pretty dull.
Yeah.
And once again, no music playing. I never noticed how important background music is, because it was just
yeah, you're hearing those very dull sound effects. I mean, is that not horrible?
Yes, it's cheap. That's what it is. It's cheap.
Is it cheap just because the music is missing, or is it cheap because it's a bad sound effect?
Yes.
You already know he doesn't like anything about this movie, so yeah, he's gonna say.
No, I like the fact it wasn't longer.
There you go.
I like the fact that it. There you go. Of that one.
About this movie?
I like the fact it wasn't longer. No, I like the fact I've watched it, and I like the fact that I get to talk about it with you guys. And I've actually seen a Chuck Norris film where he doesn't have a beard. And there was a lot of boobs in the film, which was also
Chuck Norris
that's
had
good.
sex in
I'm
movies,
okay with
I
that.
guarantee you've never seen before.
I know. I have never seen that.
It's
No,
possible.
the only thing I've seen Chuck Norris go inside was the plane in the Delta Force.
And he needed
Until I
Steve
watched
James'
this
help to
movie.
do that.
Oh my god!
You know,
Steve James holding it. All right, buddy. This is how it's gonna be.
That sounds like the kind of disrespectful thing.
Chew
they
some
would do
gum
to
so
Steve
your ears
James.
don't pop. Oh my god!
So, as luck would have it, there's just a well, like out in the middle of nowhere.
dude,
there is.
I'm sorry to go back to wrestling. It's Undertaker's tombstone into a fucking coffin match. That's what it
Okay.
is.
Or, well, he could be Kane because he was on fire.
Or Kane.
As we totally, Stuart's like, what the fuck are you talking about? We're talking about dumb wrestling. So, Chuck's like, oh, okay, I'll just throw him in this well. And, of course, he fucks that up. So, the guy throws Chuck in the well. So, Chuck's dangling by one arm. Allison, she's the ride or die bitch. So, she jumps on the back of the guy. Get off of him. Gives Chuck enough time to get back up. And then, doesn't he just do another, like, flying kick and knocks the guy?
5 more cuts.
Yeah.
Of a kick.
Guy falls down the well.
It's like, get down that well, bitch. So it kicks him right down the hole.
All done. There's no way a guy could survive a fall down a well.
Not at all. He did survive a fall out of probably 100-foot window, but if he's fallen down a hole into water, he's gone. He's dead.
So,
That's
are
it.
you
He's done.
trying to tell me there's a chance to?
You never know.
Well, they don't know because they walk off.
Possible.
But yeah, at the very last, right before the credits cut, Griff, leaps out of the water, and goes, "Roar!" And they set up the sequel that thankfully never happened.
No. Why did it not happen? Do you think they didn't want to go for the shirt budget for Chuck Norris?
I think the tube sock budget was through the roof. I think it just made no money, like every reason why sequels don't get made.
I think
know.
Mike and Aaron Norris's prices went up, so they're like, we can't do it.
I think the guy who played the monsters rate went up. He's like, "You want me back? We got to give me this, this, and this." And they're like, "We can't afford you."
They're telling me I could put a mask on and do the same movie for for double the price.
Yeah.
See, I heard the guy who wrote the first one couldn't do the second one because he had to go to high school, like a couple of years after.
Sorry, Dad.
That's what I read.
Oh man.
So we Schlocktober started off with a bang, Griff.
I mean, I love seeing Chuck get freaky. I mean, we all agree on that, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, Invasion USA, I think, is still my favorite Chuck movie, but
see, mine's the Delta Force, the first one. I love that film.
Yeah, it's because Steve James is in it. We get
it. Yeah. But this is the first one I can think of where Chuck didn't rely on a sidekick, because his sidekick is Charlie.
Yeah, but he had to have a sidekick. I don't know. I guess.
Yeah.
But if Chuck is fucking and taking his shirt off, he can kind of do his own thing.
No, I was impressed. He actually showed a kind of an emotion in this movie, which I've never seen before.
Oh, it was very close.
Yeah, he almost was human in this movie, and I appreciate that.
It wasn't an emotion he showed, it was an erection. You got your words mixed a little bit.
I mean, those jeans were tight.
Several times. They were.
I mean,
you don't want to watch them on a 4K TV, that's quite
how does that fare up with a normal 720p monitor where I'm holding a magnifying glass to it? Is that about the same?
Yeah, you don't need a magnifying glass to see the bulge in Chuck's on a 55-inch 4K TV.
I might have been missing some of the bulge by using the magnifying glass.
I'm one step away. If I watch this film through my PlayStation VR headset, then that would be a whole new dimension.
So, Stuart, thank you. We always love having you on.
Sorry for all the issues we've had today.
Do you know what? In my podcasting career, so to speak, I have had so many technical issues and stuff. So I'm right there with you.
Feel more than welcome to invite us either or onto your podcast. Just
sit for 2 hours.
Yeah, just to have us sit for an hour and a half. Be like, oh, actually, sorry guys, not going to work because we deserve it.
Yeah, I just be like, can't hear you guys, can't hear you, and I can hear you all along. And I go, nope. No. Oh, nope, you got it again.
Set it up for it's like 4 a.m. for us here, so we, really get the same feeling.
Hell yeah. 4 a.m. on Christmas Eve. That's what I'll do. Or Thanksgiving Eve, if there's such a thing.
Thanksgiving Eve. Oh, no, that's absolutely a thing. I'd be available if you need.
Is that a thing?
Oh, I'll need me.
Brilliant. All day. Keep you there all day long.
You guys can talk.
A Steven Seagal-a-thon. Talking about the best photographers in the world.
Rifling through CDs. Like, oh, yeah, I remember going through this, guys.
That could do. We could do a podcast. We'll just sit there and go through each other's CDs. That would work.
Griff doesn't have any, so.
That'd be good.
I think I still have a box tucked away. I mean, really, Stuart jogged my memory. I think I have a box tucked away of CDs. It's mostly Limp Bizkit. You'd love it.
Wow. Mine's mostly film soundtracks. I actually have the soundtrack to Cobra.
There's a soundtrack to that?
I love that soundtrack. Oh, God, yeah. There is. I got it on CD.
Let me know when you get the soundtrack to Silent Rage, because I want to hear that Katie Seagal song one more time.
I'll play it as an outro.
It's like the only song on it. Oh, brilliant. Well done, Katie.
Okay, we want to get you off, Stuart. You need to get to bed. So
we've had you for 3 hours now.
Yeah, I promise next time we'll figure this out. If there's going to be a next time.
It was not a problem. Not a problem whatsoever.
Yeah. Hopefully, if things work out, I want to have you back one more time before the year ends. We got to get that Death Wish 4 episode out. So.
We do, because I rewatched number 4 and number 5 back to back the other month in anticipation. So I will happily watch them again. 5. Great.
Yeah.
Oh, 5's a treat.
Down, right?
Yeah. It is. Yeah, it's the. I'll hire you to go take out drug dealers. Number 5 is all about the fashion
I feel
industry.
like we need to talk about this, but
it is.
I feel like we have to do a special episodes for 4 and 5 where we just talk about it in a whole, and not our usual cadence here.
Okay, so yeah.
I think at some point, I was thinking earlier on when I was watching some of the Rambo stuff, I think you guys need to do a Carol Call sort of podcast as well, where you cover stuff like Total Recall and a lot of the cheesy.
We wanted to do a Schwarzenegger one, and that was like that's on the list. We'll get to Total Recall, but Schwarzenegger was my dude when I was a kid, so yeah, I definitely like to do some more Schwarzenegger movies.
Same.
But sometimes we want to, get those really obscure ones every once in a while that people don't know about, like Ring of Steel or Legion of Iron.
Silent Rage. So you can warn them not to watch it for an hour and a half. Just save their time.
Pop it on your car.
Good, you're a service.
Look, man.
Yep.
Chuck Norris might get your dick hard, but it makes your brain soft. All right, so
I read that there's a final Chuck Norris thing that I read because there's a lot of research on Chuck. He's called Carlos.
Yes.
That's his real name, by the way. Chuck is just a nickname. Did you know he invented giraffes?
What?
Do you know that? That's true. Chuck Norris invented giraffes because he uppercutted a horse.
Oh my god!
I love that you were prepared with these to pepper in here.
I thought we were going to end on a high note.
It's true stuff.
Oh my god!
So Griff, next week as Schlocktober rolls on, Griff.
Yes.
The House of Hammer, Kings of Horror, Golden Harvest, the Kings of Chopsaki. They're the chocolate and peanut butter of movie studios, Griff. They're great apart, but they're so much better together. Next week, Griff, we're going to do the co-production Hammer meets Shaw Brothers, Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires.
Ooh, sounds interesting.
Peter Cushing, the man, he's back. Sadly, Christopher Lee's not here. There's a really bogus Dracula in it, but we're going to see some kung fu fighting. We're going to see cats as fast as lightning, and hopefully it'll be a little bit frightening.
Ooh.
So I hope I know Stuart's going to join us. We're going to listen to it next week, but I hope everybody listens.
I will be listening. My ears will be harder than Chuck Norris's pants.
I just imagine Stuart got a big 2-foot bologna to slice into slices
while eating
it. So next week's Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires, and keep it warm.
Hi. Does anybody see Richie?